The problem is, we don't purposely set out to complicate our lives. We unknowingly welcome complications into them, ruining our lives in the process. And so, to prevent this from happening, it helps to break down life into its most basic managerial elements so we can understand how complexities arise, the price we pay to deal with them, and how we can identify them so they don't ruin our lives in the future. Understand, life boils down to and is totally encompassed by 4 things: production, processes, problems, and people. Production in that you must work and produce things in order to survive. Processes in that all your actions, whether for work or pleasure, are processes you must execute. Problems in that random issues will arise that require you solve them. And people, who, though ostensibly are the main purpose and reason in life, are often the number one cause of all our troubles and complications. Each of these 4 categories require 3 things on your part to resolve them: thought, decision, and action. Thought, you must think about the production/process/person/problem and how best to go about doing/solving it. Decision, you must settle on a course of action and all other sub-courses of action required to resolve the issue. Action, you must actually spend calories of energy executing your decision to resolve the issue. A very simple example would be the process of getting an ice cream. You realize you would like an ice cream. You now must think about the process of getting an ice cream. This can entail things like, is it in the budget? Will it violate your diet? What is the best place to get ice cream? What's the traffic like near that store? What kind of ice cream would you like to get? Should you take the car or the bus? Where did you leave the keys? And would your kids like some ice cream as well? After thinking about and factoring in all these variables, you make the decision to get chocolate ice cream at Bob's Ice Cream Hut with your car, not telling your children, while disposing the evidence that you did have ice cream in the bathroom garbage at Bob's Ice Cream Hut. Then comes the actual execution of the process of getting ice cream. You drive to Bob's Ice Cream Hut, but realize traffic is bad and decide to go to Frank's Ice Cream Emporium instead. Apparently, you're not the only one who dodged traffic, as there's a line at Frank's Ice Cream Emporium. You look and realize they have sprinkles, which you spend the extra energy hemming and hawing over. You get to the cashier, order your chocolate ice cream with sprinkles, and now must decide which credit card to pay with. You decide to use the card you don't share with your wife because you don't want her to know you're cheating on your diet. You eat your ice cream in the parking lot, knowing you have to ditch the evidence in the bathroom, but your cell phone rings, prompting you to unconsciously toss it in the back of the car. After the call, you drive home, unaware you have chocolate on your face and left incriminating evidence in the back seat. You arrive home, decide to leave the car outside. You walk up to the door instead of going through the garage because you felt like it, and upon entering the door, your wife asks where you went, and you say, to get gas, knowing full well the gas tank is half empty. The kids see the ice cream on your face and ask, "Did you get ice cream?" You are now faced with a new problem that arose from a simple process, and in a lightning flash of inadequate thinking, you decide to lie is the best option. You say, "What ice cream?" and decide to go to the bathroom to look, where you quickly wash away the evidence. Your wife knows you're lying because you've done this before. Your kids are pissed because they didn't get ice cream. And invariably, your abnormally curious daughter goes to the car and sees your discarded cup and spoon you forgot in the back seat. Upon being found guilty as hell, you now have to solve this new problem through another process of taking the whole family for ice cream on your dime, which sets you back to square one and made what should have been a simple, enjoyable afternoon an hours-long production and life complication. And remember, this was a simple process. Now imagine something a bit more complex, like buying a car, taking the family to Disneyland, planning a wedding, finding a job, having children, or getting an education. If you think getting an ice cream was tedious, think of everything that goes into solving all problems/processes/production/people in life. Think of the sum total of time you have to spend thinking about solving all these problems. Also, consider the literal billions of individual decisions you'll have to make and the billions of actions you will have to execute to deal with literally every single issue in your life. And this isn't the half of it, because this assumes you're going to bat 1,000. This assumes you're going to make the right choice every time, which you aren't. Consequently, you are going to waste an incredible amount of time, money, and energy essentially fixing errors and spinning your wheels instead of making genuine progress in life. This is the true cost of an overly complicated life. The real problem, however, is not lying to your wife about ice cream only to get busted later. Nobody consciously and intentionally overcomplicates their lives that way. It's the old classic Lucy presenting Charlie Brown the football scenario. It's the false choices life presents to us, where we logically assume we can get a simple ice cream without much trouble or fuss. And in naively believing in these perfectly sane propositions life gives us, we are in fact unknowingly inviting complexity into our lives. For example, it isn't absurd to think you should be able to get an ice cream relatively trouble-free, or that if you buy a PlayStation 5, you should be able to play video games. Nor is it absurd to presume that if you go to college for 4 years and $80,000 in debt, you should be able to earn a living wage upon graduation. But you are only one variable among billions of other variables that determines whether you'll get what you were promised. Yes, you absolutely should be able to get an ice cream, but traffic is bad, and when you inevitably get there, the millennial manager taped a handwritten sign that says, "Due to staffing shortages, our store is closed." Yes, you absolutely should be able to play video games on a PS5. But not first without connecting to the internet, setting up an account, providing a username and password, providing a credit card number, installing 16 hours of console updates, 3 hours of installing the game, and 12 more hours of game updates. All before you can play one single game. Oh, and by the way, we got hacked and now your credit card is on the dark web. And yes, you absolutely should be able to find a job after graduating from college with a sum total of 17 years in education. Except you can't. Because your teachers told you to follow your heart and the money will follow. And so, you and the 13 million other early education majors can't find a job. In other words, we logically, though naively, assume people in society are intellectually honest, and we therefore commit to endeavors that never deliver what was promised. Consequently, we unnecessarily complicate our lives, waste our time, and make life much more difficult than had we never pursued these endeavors in the first place.